नमस्कार दोस्तों। कैसे हैं आप लोग? आशा करता हूँ आप लोग एकदम बहुत ही मौज मस्ती में होंगे, बढ़िया से लाइफ एंजॉय कर रहे होंगे। तो चलिए दोस्तों, आज हम लोग शुरू करने वाले हैं चैप्टर नंबर 4, क्लास 7th एनसीईआरटी ऑफ हिस्ट्री की रीडिंग। ठीक है, मैं पहले ही बता देता हूँ दोस्तों डिस्क्लेमर के तौर पे हर वीडियो में कि दो बातें हैं। नंबर 1, मैं आपको इस चैप्टर के नोट्स नहीं लिखवाता हूँ। नंबर 2, मैं आपको ये चैप्टर समझाता नहीं हूँ, मैं केवल आपके लिए रीडिंग करके देता हूँ। समझ रहे हैं? क्योंकि एनसीईआरटी रीडिंग इतनी बड़ी समस्या है ना, मैंने ये देखा है बहुत जनों में, सब लोग नोट्स के पीछे भागते हैं। चाहे वो 7 का बच्चा हो, स्कूल जाता हुआ, तो भी वो नोट्स मांगता है कि एग्जाम में क्या क्वेश्चंस आएंगे वो बता दो, मैं रट के चला जाऊंगा, वो एग्जाम में लिख के आ जाऊंगा। और ज़्यादातर देखा मैंने बहुत सारे कम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स के एस्पिरेंट्स, स्पेशली यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स जिनको एनसीईआरटी डिटेल में पढ़नी पड़ती है, उनका भी मैंने कभी कभी देखा है कि उनको नोट्स चाहिए। अरे एक बार पढ़ तो लो भाई, पहले एक बार पढ़ोगे तब ना मजा आएगा। और एक बार क्या, तुम अगर 3 4 5 बार अगर एनसीईआरटी रीडिंग कर लिए ना, 5 6 बार, और 10 बार कहीं पढ़ लिए टोटल, तो तुमको ना नोट्स वोट्स बनाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, तुम खुद पढ़ा दोगे भी दूसरे को। ये काम कैसे होगा? हाँ, मैं मानता हूँ कि ये काम बोरिंग है, एनसीईआरटी रीडिंग करना किसी को अच्छा नहीं लगता है। कम से कम रीडिंग नहीं कर सकते, सुन तो सकते हो, तो सुन लो। मेरे वीडियोस ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा आधा घंटे के होते हैं, कायदे से सुन लोगे तो बेटा मज़ा आ जाएगा। 1.5 की स्पीड पे देखे वो 20 ही मिनट लगेगा। समझ रहे हो बात को, बोलना चाह रहा हूँ जो। तो जो रीडिंग कर रहा हूँ तो उसको बस तुम सुन लोगे ना 10 बार, मैं बता रहा हूँ, और तुम देख लोगे। देखो, मैं एनसीईआरटी खोल के ही सामने रीडिंग करता ताकि तुम्हें साफ दिखे कि मैं क्या रीडिंग कर रहा हूँ। एक तरह से क्या होगा, तुम अगर मान लो कहीं ट्रैवल कर रहे हो, किसी जर्नी में जा रहे हो, बहुत बिजी हो, बहुत ही थक हार के आए हो, रीडिंग करने का मन नहीं कर रहा है, मतलब क्या बोलते हैं, बहुत ही बिजी शेड्यूल है तुम्हारा, तो क्या करोगे? तो बस कभी कभी कान में डालो, आराम से लेट के सुन लिया करो, मज़ा आ जाएगा। 10 बार जब करोगे ना रीडिंग, मतलब सुन लोगे ना जब वीडियोस, तो दिमाग में छप जाएगा बेटा, जान ले। चलो, बहुत हो गई बातें, अब हम आपका टाइम बिना बर्बाद किए हुए शुरू करते हैं। द मुगल एम्पायर, चैप्टर नंबर 4, क्लास 7th हिस्ट्री, एनसीईआरटी। Ruling as large a territory as the Indian subcontinent with such a diversity of people and cultures was an extremely difficult task for any ruler to accomplish in the Middle Ages. Quite in contrast to their predecessors, the Mughals created an empire and accomplished what had hitherto seemed possible for only a short period of time. From the latter half of the 16th century, they expanded their kingdom from Agra and Delhi. Until in the 17th century, they controlled nearly all of the subcontinent. They imposed structures of administration and ideas of governance that outlasted their rule, leaving a political legacy that succeeding rulers of the subcontinent could not ignore. Today, the Prime Minister of India addresses the nation on Independence Day from the ramparts of the Red Fort in Delhi, the residence of the Mughal emperors. तो ये देखिए, रेड फोर्ट का पिक्चर दिया गया है, ये वाला देख सकते हैं आप लोग। चलिए, who were the Mughals? The Mughals were descendants of two great lineages of rulers. From their mother's side, they were descendants of Genghis Khan, died in 1227, the Mongol ruler who ruled over parts of China and Central Asia. From their father's side, they were successors of Timur, died in 1404, the ruler of Iran, Iraq, and modern-day Turkey. However, the Mughals did not like to be called Mughal or Mongol. This was because Genghis Khan's memory was associated with the massacre of innumerable people. It was also linked with the Uzbeks, their Mongol competitors. On the other hand, the Mughals were proud of their Timurid ancestry, not least of all because their great ancestor had captured Delhi in 1398. यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं ये पिक्चर क्या बोल रहा है। Figure number 2, a miniature painting dated 1702 to 1712 of Timur, his descendants, and the Mughal emperors. Timur is in the center, and on his right is his son Miran Shah, the first Mughal emperor, Babur's great great grandfather, and then Abu Said, Babur's grandfather. To the left of the Timur are Sultan Muhammad Mirza, Babur's great grandfather, and Umar Sheikh, Babur's father. The Mughal emperors Babur, Akbar, and Shah Jahan are the third, fourth, and fifth individuals on the Timur's right, and on his left in the same order are Humayun, Jahangir, and Aurangzeb. तो ये देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे आपको बताया गया है इनके बारे में क्या इनका ऑर्डर है. ठीक है. डू यू थिंक दिस पेंटिंग सजेस्ट्स दैट मुगल क्लेम्ड किंगशिप एज अ बर्थ राइट? तो ये आप लोग सोच सकते हैं. दे सेलिब्रेटेड देयर जीनियोलॉजी क्या पढ़ रहा हूँ भाई मैं. दे सेलिब्रेटेड देयर जीनियोलॉजी पिक्टोरियली, ईच रूलर गेटिंग अ पिक्चर मेड ऑफ तिमूर एंड हिमसेल्फ. टेक अ लुक एट फिगर 2 विच इज समवट लाइक अ ग्रुप फोटोग्राफ. हाँ, तो आप देख ही चुके हैं, ये वाला ग्रुप फोटोग्राफ के जैसा है. फिगर 3 मुगल आर्मी ऑन कैंपेन. तो ये आप लोग देख सकते हैं मुगल आर्मी के बारे में बताया गया है. मुगल आर्मी कैंपेन्स. बाबर, द फर्स्ट मुगल एम्पेरर 1526 to 1530, succeeded to the throne of Fargana in 1494. When he was only 12 years old, he was forced to leave his ancestral throne due to the invasion of another Mongol group, the Uzbeks. After years of wandering, he seized Kabul in 1504. In 1526, he defeated the Sultan of Delhi, Ibrahim Lodi, at Panipat and captured Delhi and Agra. At Panipat and captured Delhi and Agra. Table 1 charts some of the major campaigns of the Mughals. Study it carefully and see if you can notice any long-term patterns. You will notice, for example, that the Afghans were an immediate threat to Mughal authority. Note the relationships between the Mughals and the Ahoms. See also chapter 7. The Sikhs and Mewar and Marwar. How was Humayun's relationship with Safavid Iran different from Akbar's? Did the annexation of Golconda and Bijapur in Aurangzeb's reign end in hostilities in the Deccan? तो आप लोग इसके बारे में सोचिए, क्या आपको आंसर मिलता है? आप ये देख सकते हैं. अच्छा, फिगर नंबर 4. यहाँ पे कुछ क्वेश्चंस दे रखे हैं बेसिकली. Cannons were an important addition in 16th century warfare. Babur used them effectively in the first battle of Panipat. ये वाला cannons, figure 4. Gunpowder technology was brought to India for warfare in the 14th century. Firearms were used for the first time in regions such as Gujarat, Malwa and Deccan, and was used by Babur in early 16th century. आगे पढ़ते देखते हैं. टेबल 1 यही है भाई, देखो क्या इसमें दिया गया है. Okay, Mughal emperors, major campaigns and events. Babur, 1526 to 1530. 1526, he defeated Ibrahim Lodi and his Afghan supporters at Panipat. 1527, defeated Rana Sanga, Rajput rulers and allies at Khanwa. 1528, defeated the Rajputs at Chanderi, established control over Agra and Delhi before his death. Humayun, 1530 to 40. 1555 to 1556. Humayun divided his inheritance according to the will of his father. His brothers were each given a province. The ambitions of his brother Mirza Kamran weakened Humayun's cause against Afghan competitors. Sher Khan defeated Humayun at Chausa in 1539 and Kannauj in 1540, forcing him to flee to Iran. In Iran, Humayun received help from the Safavid Shah. He recaptured Delhi in 1555 but died the next year after an accident in his building. Akbar, 1556 to 1605. Akbar was 13 years old when he became emperor. His reign can be divided into 3 periods, 1556 to 1570. Akbar became independent of the regent Bairam Khan and other members of his domestic staff. Military campaigns were launched against the Suris and other Afghans against the neighboring kingdoms of Malwa and Gondwana, and to suppress the revolt of his half-brother Mirza Hakim and the Uzbeks. In 1568, the Sisodia capital of Chittor was seized, and in 1569, Ranthambore. 1570 to 1585, military campaigns in Gujarat were followed by campaigns in the east in Bihar, Bengal, and Odisha. These campaigns were complicated by the 1579 to 1580 revolt in support of Mirza Hakim. 1585 to 1605, expansion of Akbar's empire. Campaigns were launched in the northwest. Kandahar was seized from the Safavids. Kashmir was annexed, and also Kabul after the death of Mirza Hakim. Campaigns in the Deccan started and Berar, Khandesh, and parts of Ahmednagar were annexed. In the last years of his reign, Akbar was distracted by the rebellion of Prince Salim, the future Emperor Jahangir. 1605 to 1627. Military campaign started by Akbar continued. The Sisodia ruler of Mewar, Amar Singh, accepted Mughal service. Less successful campaigns against the Sikhs, the Ahoms, and Ahmednagar followed. Prince Khurram, the future Emperor Shah Jahan, rebelled in the last years of his reign. The efforts of Noor Jahan, Jahangir's wife, to marginalize him were unsuccessful. शाहजहां, तो ये देखिए, ये है जहांगीर भाई साहब, और यहाँ है शाहजहां. 1627 to 1658. The Mughal campaigns continued in the Deccan under Shah Jahan. The Afghan noble Khan Jahan Lodi rebelled and was defeated. Campaigns were launched against Ahmednagar. The Bundelas were defeated and Orchha seized. In the northwest, the campaign to seize Balkh from the Uzbeks was unsuccessful, and Kandahar was lost to the Safavids. In 1632, Ahmednagar was finally annexed, and the Bijapur forces sued for peace. In 1657-1658, there was conflict over succession amongst Shah Jahan's sons. Aurangzeb was victorious, and his 3 brothers, including Dara Shikoh, were killed. Shah Jahan was imprisoned for the rest of his life in Agra. Aurangzeb, 1658 to 1707. In the northeast, the Ahoms were defeated in 1663, but rebelled again in the 1680s. Campaigns in the northwest against the Yusuf Zai and the Sikhs were temporarily successful. Mughal intervention in the succession and internal politics of the Rathod Rajputs of Marwar led to their rebellion. Campaigns against the Martha. काहे इतना पटक रहे हो भाई, पटक दो बाहर, ये इतना शोर हो रहा है, मैं क्या बताएं, कहाँ थे हम लोग. Campaigns against the Martha chieftain Shivaji were initially successful, but Aurangzeb insulted Shivaji, who escaped from Agra, declared himself an independent king, and resumed his campaigns against the Mughals. Prince Akbar rebelled against Aurangzeb and received support from the Marathas and the Deccan Sultanate. He finally fled to Safavid Iran. After Akbar's rebellion, Aurangzeb sent armies against the Deccan Sultanates. Bijapur was annexed in 1685 and Golconda in 1687. From 1698, Aurangzeb personally managed campaigns in the Deccan against the Marathas, who started guerrilla warfare. Aurangzeb also had to face the rebellion in North India of the Sikhs, Jats, and Satnamis, in the northeast of Ahoms, and in the Deccan of Marathas. His death was followed by a succession conflict amongst his sons. तो अब दोस्तों देखते हैं मैप 1, मिलिट्री कैंपेन्स अंडर अकबर एंड औरंगजेब. ये देखो, ये सब जगह पे हुए हैं मिलिट्री कैंपेन्स. मालवा 1561, गुजरात 1572, चित्तौड़ 1568, रणथंबोर 1569, पटना 1574, बंगाल 1574, बीजापुर 1685, गोलकोंडा 1687, कश्मीर 1586, ऐसे करके बाकी सारी जगह पे भी हुए हैं. ठीक है दोस्तों, आगे देखते हैं. Mughal traditions of succession. The Mughals did not believe in the rule of primogeniture, where or primogeniture, where the eldest son inherited his father's estate. Instead, they followed the Mughal and Timurid custom of co-parcenary inheritance or a division of the inheritance amongst all the sons. Follow the highlighted passages in Table 1 and note the evidence for rebellions by Mughal princes. Which do you think is a fairer division of inheritance, primogeniture or co-parcenary? Mughal marriages with the Rajputs. The mother of Jahangir was a Kachwaha princess, daughter of the Rajput ruler of Amber, modern day Jaipur. The mother of Shah Jahan was a Rathod princess, daughter of the Rajput ruler Marwar, Jodhpur. Mughal relations with other rulers. Take a look at Table 1 once again. You will notice that the Mughal rulers campaigned constantly against rulers who refused to accept their authority. But as the Mughals became as the Mughals became powerful, many other rulers also joined them voluntarily. The Rajputs are a good example of this. Many of them married their daughters into Mughal families and received high positions, but many resisted as well. The Sisodia Rajputs of Mewar refused to accept sorry दोस्तों The Sisodia Rajputs of Mewar refused to accept Mughal authority for a long time. Once defeated, however, they were honorably treated by the Mughals. Given their lands, Watan, back as assignments, Watan Jagir, the careful balance between defeating but not humiliating their opponents enabled the Mughals to extend their influence over many kings and chieftains. But it was difficult to keep this balance all the time. Look at Table 1 again. Note that Aurangzeb insulted Shivaji when he came to accept Mughal authority. What was the consequence of this insult? Mansabdars and Jagirdars. As the empire expanded, to encompass different regions, the Mughals recruited diverse bodies of people from a small nucleus of Turkish nobles, Turanis. They expanded to include Iranians, Indian Muslims, Afghans, Rajputs, Marathas, and other groups. Those who joined Mughal service were enrolled as Mansabdars. The term Mansabdar refers to an individual who holds a mansab, meaning a position or rank. It was a grading system used by the Mughals to fix rank, salary, and military responsibilities. Rank and salary were determined by a numerical value called Zat. The higher the Zat, the more prestigious was the noble's position in court and the larger his salary. The Mansabdar's military responsibilities required him to maintain a specified number of Sawar or cavalrymen. The Mansabdar brought his cavalrymen for review, got them registered and their horses branded and got them registered, their horses branded, and then received money to pay them as salary. Zat ranking. Nobles with a Zat of 5,000 were ranked higher than those of 1,000. In Akbar's reign, there were 29 Mansabdars with a rank of 5,000 Zat. By Aurangzeb's reign, the number of Mansabdars had increased to 79. Would this have meant more expenditure for the state? Mansabdar received their salaries as revenue assignments called Jagirs, which were somewhat like Iktas, but unlike Muktis, most Mansabdars did not actually reside in or administer their Jagirs. They only had rights to the revenue of their assignments, which was collected for them by their servants, while the Mansabdars themselves served in some other part of the country. In Akbar's reign, these Jagirs were carefully assessed so that their revenues were roughly equal to the salary of the Mansabdar. By Aurangzeb's reign, this was no longer the case, and the actual revenue collected was often less than the granted sum. There was also a huge increase in the number of mansabdars, which meant a long wait before they received a jagir. These and other factors created a shortage in the number of jagirs. As a result, many jagirdars tried to extract as much revenue as possible when they had a jagir. Aurangzeb was unable to control these developments in the last years of his reign, and the peasantry therefore suffered tremendously. फिगर 5 देख लेते हैं दोस्तों, क्या बोल रहा है? मनसबदार ऑन मार्च विथ हिज सवार्स. फिगर 6, डिटेल्स फ्रॉम अ मिनिएचर फ्रॉम Shahjahan's reign depicting corruption in his father's administration. A corrupt officer receiving a bribe and a tax collector punishing poor peasants. ये receiving bribe and tax collector punishing poor peasants, ये वाला है. Zabt and zamindars. The main source of income available to Mughal rulers was tax on the produce of the peasantry. In most places, peasants paid taxes through the rural elites, that is, the headman or the local chieftain. The Mughals used one term, zamindars, to describe all intermediaries, whether they were local headmen of villages or powerful chieftains. Akbar's revenue minister, Todarmal, carried out a careful survey of crop yields, prices, and areas cultivated for a 10-year period, 1570 to 1580. On the basis of this data, tax was fixed on each crop in cash. Each province was divided into revenue circles with its own schedule of revenue rates for individual crops. This revenue system was known as Zabt. It was prevalent in those areas where Mughal administrators could survey the land and keep very careful accounts. This was not possible in provinces such as Gujarat and Bengal. In some areas, the zamindars exercised a great deal of power. The exploitation by Mughal administrators could drive them to rebellion. Sometimes, zamindars and peasants of the same caste allied in rebelling against Mughal authority. These peasant revolts challenged the stability of the Mughal Empire from the end of the 17th century. Akbarnama and Aine Akbari. Akbar ordered one of his close friends and courtiers, Abul Fazl, to write a history of his reign. Abul Fazl wrote a 3-volume history of Akbar's reign titled Akbarnama. The first volume dealt with Akbar's ancestors, and the second volume recorded the events of Akbar's reign. The third volume is the Aine Akbari. It deals with Akbar's administration, household, army, the revenues, and the geography of his empire. It also provides rich details about the traditions and culture of the people living in India. The most interesting aspect about the Aine Akbari is its rich statistical details about things as diverse as crops, yields, prices, wages, and revenues. फिगर 7 देख लेते क्या बोल रहा है. अकबर रिसीविंग द अकबरनामा फ्रॉम अबुल फजल. ये a closer look. Akbar's policies. The broad feature of administration were laid down by Akbar and were elaborately discussed by Abul Fazl in his book, the Akbarnama, in particular in its last volume, the Aine Akbari. Abul Fazl explained that the empire was divided into provinces called Subas, governed by a Subedar, who carried out both political and military functions. Each province also had a financial officer or Diwan. For the maintenance of peace and order in his province, the Subedar was supported by other officers, such as the military paymaster Bakshi, the minister in charge of religious and charitable patronage Sadar, military commanders Faujdars, and the town police commander Kotwal. Noor Jahan's influence in Jahangir's court. Mehru Nisa married the Emperor Jahangir in 1611 and received the title Noor Jahan. She remained extremely loyal and supportive to the monarch. As a mark of honor, Jahangir struck silver coins bearing his own titles on one side, and on the other the inscription struck in the name of the Queen Begum Noor Jahan. The adjoining document is an order Farman of Noor Jahan. The square seal states, command of her most sublime and elevated majesty Noor Jahan Padshah Begum. The round seal states, by the son of Shah Jahangir, she became as brilliant as the moon. May Noor Jahan Padshah be the lady of the age. ये नूर जहां फरमान ये वाला है। देखते हैं डोगमा किसको बोलते हैं। अ स्टेटमेंट और एन इंटरप्रिटेशन डिक्लेयर्ड एज अथॉरिटेटिव with the expectation that it would be followed without question by God, an individual who is intolerant of another person's religious beliefs or culture. Akbar's nobles commanded large armies and had access to large amounts of revenue. While they were loyal, the empire functioned efficiently, but by the end of the 17th century, many nobles had built independent networks of their own. Their loyalties to the empire were weakened by their own self-interest. अच्छा दोस्तों, आप लोगों को बोरिंग बोरिंग लगता हो ना कभी कभी पढ़ते समय, कि क्या मतलब पढ़ते समय मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है। सोचो, पढ़ते समय में बोरिंग लगता है, आपको तो बस सुनना पड़ रहा है। मैं बताता हूँ दोस्तों क्या कर रहे हैं। अगर आप उत्तर क्या बोलते हैं इधर से हैं, नॉर्थ इंडिया से हैं, ठीक है, आप अगर चाहें ना, अगर आपको मान लीजिए फ्री, आप खुद के रीडिंग के समय या फिर मान लीजिए मेरे वीडियो सुनते समय कभी कभी मान लीजिए बोरिंग बोरिंग सा लग रहा है ना, तो आप अपने बेस्ट गाने सुन लिया कीजिए, ठीक है, बेस्ट गाने सुन लिया कीजिए, तो वो आपको बहुत मदद करेगा भाई, सच बता रहा हूँ। बेस्ट गाने सुनोगे ना, मज़ा आ जाएगा एकदम, मतलब दिमाग रिचार्ज हो जाता है भाई। एक ही तरीके का काम हमें ज़्यादा देर तक पसंद नहीं आता है, अगर हम उसी में हल्का फुल्का ब्रेक ले लेंगे ना, तब मज़ा आ जाएगा। मैं बताता हूँ दोस्तों, तुम लोगों को 2 घंटे की कंटिन्यूस स्टडी उतनी मदद नहीं करेगी जितनी कि 1 घंटे 50 मिनट और 10 मिनट गाना सुनने की स्टडी तुमको वो करे, जितने फ़ायदा करेगी। मैं बताता हूँ, मान लो तुमने 2 घंटे कंटिन्यूस पढ़ाई किया, सुबह 8 बजे से लेकर सुबह 10 बजे तक, और उसी में मान लो तुमने क्या किया, सुबह एक तरीका ये हो गया और दूसरा तरीका ये हो गया, 8 बजे से लेकर 8:55 तक पढ़ाई किया, 5 मिनट गाना सुना, फिर 9 बजे से 9:55 तक पढ़ाई किया, फिर गाना सुना। बात वही है, पढ़ा तुमने 1 घंटे 50 मिनट, लेकिन जो 10 मिनट का टोटल 5 और 5 का तो जो तुमने रिफ्रेश किया ना अपने माइंड को, तो वो बड़ा अच्छा होता है। कभी कभी करना चाहिए, तो रिफ्रेश कर लिया करो माइंड को। एग्जाम्पल देखना है, एग्जाम्पल देखोगे। अच्छा, ये पैराग्राफ पढ़ने के बाद एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ, ठीक है, वेट करो, रुको, देता हूँ एग्जाम्पल। While Akbar was at Fatehpur Sikri during the 1570s, he started discussions on religion with the ulema, brahmanas, Jesuit priests who were Roman Catholics and Zoroastrians. These discussions took place in the Ibadat Khana. He was interested in the religion and social customs of different people. Akbar's interaction with people of different faiths made him realize that religious scholars who emphasized ritual and dogma were often bigots. Their teachings created divisions and disharmony amongst his subjects. This eventually led to the idea of sul-e-kul, or universal peace. This idea of tolerance did not discriminate between people of different religions in his realm. Instead, it focused on a system of ethics, honesty, justice, peace that was universally applicable. Abul Fazl helped Akbar in framing a vision of governance around this idea of sulh-e-kul. This principle of governance was followed by Jahangir and Shah Jahan as well. Can you identify the Jesuit priests in this picture? देख लीजिए भाई कौन आपको लग रहा है। Figure 9. Akbar holding discussions with learned individuals of different faiths in the इबादत खाना। तो ये उसकी पिक्चर है, देख लो भाई साहब आराम से। बाकी सब मैंने इधर कर दिया है। हाँ, तो अब मैं क्या बोल रहा था, तुम्हें वो देखना है ना, एग्जाम्पल सुनना है ना गाना का। जैसे देखो, मैं बिहार से बिलोंग करता हूँ, ठीक है, तो जितने बिहार, उत्तर प्रदेश, फिर इधर नॉर्थ इंडिया वाले हैं ना, झारखंड, उनको बिहारी गाना बड़ा पसंद आता है, भोजपुरी सॉन्ग। हाँ, तो बिहारी सॉन्ग सुन सकते हो, उससे ना अलग लेवल की एनर्जी आती है। देखो मैं एग्जांपल दिखा रहा हूँ भाई, देख लो, मतलब सुन लो। तो ऐसा आप लोग गाना सुन सकते हैं, ठीक है। तो जो लोग अब साउथ इंडिया के हैं, उनको समझ में नहीं आएगा भाई ये क्या बोल रहा है। तो हाँ, साउथ इंडिया वालों को नहीं समझ में आएगा, लेकिन ठीक है। भोजपुरी, भोजपुरी का तो जानते हो ना भाई, उत्तर प्रदेश, बिहार, झारखंड, मध्य प्रदेश, छत्तीसगढ़, ये सब में क्रेज रहता है, खासकर नॉर्थ इंडिया वाले सेक्टर में। चलो दोस्तों, अबुल फजल एंड ये तो हो गया, दिस प्रिंसिपल ऑफ गवर्नेंस वाज फॉलोड बाय जहांगीर एंड शाहजहां एज वेल। ओके, अब सुलह ई कुल है क्या, ये देखते हैं। तो दोस्तों, मजा आया ना आप लोगों को गाना सुन के? अरे एनर्जी देती है भाई। मैं तो मानता हूँ भाई, मतलब देखो, मैं जैसे बिहार से बिलोंग करता हूँ, तो मेरे को लगेगा, मतलब मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि भोजपुरी गाने में काफ़ी दम होता है भाई। मतलब मैं मोटिवेशन के तौर पे लेता हूँ भाई, मतलब पूरा मस्ती में मस्ती हो जाता है। अब तुम मान लो साउथ इंडिया के हो, तो तुमको साउथ इंडियन गाना अच्छा लग सकता है। तुम पंजाब से हो, पंजाबी गाना अच्छा लगता है। पंजाबी भी मेरे को बहुत पसंद है, पंजाबी थोड़ा बहुत समझ में आ जाता है, लेकिन साउथ इंडिया वाला गाना ना मेरे को थोड़ा समझ में नहीं आता भाई, इसलिए मैं मतलब पूरी तरह एंजॉय नहीं कर पाता। लेकिन भोजपुरी गाना हो गया, हिंदी बॉलीवुड सॉन्ग्स तो सबको समझ में आते हैं, लेकिन भोजपुरी हो गया, फिर ये सब मेरे को समझ में आता, मतलब काफ़ी एंजॉय है। भोजपुरी, पंजाबी, हरियाणवी, हरियाणवी भी भाई, हरियाणवी भी, हरियाणवी थोड़ा बहुत, राजस्थानी, गुजराती वगैरह, और मराठी। ठीक है भाई, मतलब मराठी भी देख सकते हैं, मतलब मेरे को समझ में उतना ज़्यादा नहीं आता अभी फ़िलहाल तो भाई, बाकी ठीक है। जिसका, अरे देखो, मेरा कहने का पर्सपेक्टिव यही है कि तुमको जो गाना पसंद आ रहा है, तुम बीच बीच में जब काम से उब जाओ तो उस गाने को सुन लिया करो भाई, बहुत मदद करती है भाई, ये बात जान लो। तो चलो चलो कंटिन्यू करते हैं, क्या मैं भी, हाँ। सुलह ए कुल, जहांगीर, Akbar's son, described his father's policy of Sulah equal in the following words: as in the wide expanse of the divine compassion, there is room for all classes and the followers of all creeds. So, in his imperial dominions, which on all sides were limited only by the sea, there was room for the professors of opposite religions and for beliefs, God, good and bad, and the road to intolerance was closed. Sunnis and Shias met in one mosque and Christians and Jews in one church to pray. He consistently followed the principle of universal peace. Sulah equal. Akbar commissioned the translation of many Sanskrit words into Persian. A Maktab Khana or translation bureau was also established at Fatehpur Sikri for this purpose. The Mahabharat, Ramayana and Lilavati and Yoga Vashisht were some of the notable Sanskrit works that were taken up for translation. The Razmnama, Persian translation of Mahabharata, contains lavish illustration of the events of Maharashtra. तो ये देखो, यहाँ पे ये बड़ा खतरनाक चीज़ है भाई साहब, देख बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। अब मकताब खाना और ट्रांसलेशन ब्यूरो, ये किसी भी एग्जाम में आपसे पूछा जा सकता है दोस्तों कि अकबर के समय मकताब खाना किसे बोला जाता था। ट्रांसलेशन ब्यूरो दे देगा, कुछ और दे देगा, क्या बोलते हैं कि इससे मकताब खाना, ये जहाँ पे फूड स्टोर करते थे, यहाँ पे ये करते थे, वो करते, फलाना करते थे, ढिमकाना करते थे। तो ये सब देख लो भाई, एनसीईआरटी बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, तुम समझो यार, समझो, मैं समझाने की पूरी कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। चलो, the Mughal Empire in the 17th century and after, the administrative and military efficiency of the Mughal Empire led to great economic and commercial prosperity. International travelers described it as the fabled land of wealth. But these same visitors were also appalled at the state of poverty that existed side by side with the greatest opulence. The inequalities were glaring. Documents from the 20th year of Shah Jahan's reign inform us that the highest ranking Mansabdars were only 445 in number out of a total of 8,000. This small number, a mere 5.6% of the total number of Mansabdars, received 61.5% of the total estimated revenue of the empire as salaries for themselves and their troopers. The Mughal emperors and their Mansabdars spent a great deal of their income on salaries and goods. This expenditure benefited the artisans and peasantry who supplied them with goods and produce, but the scale of revenue collection left very little for investment in the hands of the primary producers, the peasant and the artisan. The poorest among them lived from hand to mouth, and they could hardly consider investing in additional resources, tools, and supplies to increase productivity. The wealthier peasantry and artisanal groups, the merchants and bankers profited in this economic world. The enormous wealth and resources commanded by the Mughal elite made them an extremely powerful group of people in the late 17th century. As the authority of the Mughal emperor slowly declined, his servants emerged as powerful centers of power in the regions. They constituted new dynasties and held command of provinces like Hyderabad and Awadh. Although they continued to recognize the Mughal emperor in Delhi as their master, by the 18th century, the provinces of the empire had consolidated their independent political identities. We will read more about them in chapter 10. तो अब आ गया है हमारा एल्सवेयर किंग्स एंड क्वींस. There were several great monarchs, all near contemporaries, in different parts of the world in the 16th century. These included the ruler of Ottoman Turkey, Sultan Suleiman, 1520 to 1566. During his rule, the Ottoman state expanded into Europe, seizing Hungary and besieging Austria. His armies also seized Baghdad and Iraq, much of North of Africa, all the way into Morocco. Acknowledged Ottoman authority, Suleiman also reconstructed the Ottoman navy. Its domination over the eastern Mediterranean brought the navy into competition with Spain. In the Arabian Sea, it challenged the Portuguese. The monarch was given the title of Al-Kanuni, the lawgiver, because of the large number of regulations Qanun passed during his reign. These were aimed to standardize administrative procedures throughout the expanding domains of the empire, and specifically to protect the peasantry from forced labor and extraordinary taxes. Later in the 17th century, when public order declined in the Ottoman domains, the reign of Suleiman Kanuni was remembered as a period of ideal governance. यहाँ पे देख रखा है क्वेश्चन, फाइंड आउट मोर अबाउट Akbar's other contemporaries, the ruler of England, Queen Elizabeth 1558 to 1603, Queen Elizabeth I, the Safavid ruler of Iran, Shah Abbas 1588 to 1629, and the more controversial ruler Tsar Ivan IV Vasilevich. I think I am pronouncing it right. Tsar Ivan IV Vasilievich, and also called Ivan the Terrible, 1530 to 1584. अब दोस्तों ये दे रखा है इमेजिन. ये काम भाई देखो, अगर तुम 7th में पढ़ते हो तो तुमको लगेगा कि हाँ ठीक है कर सकते हैं इमेजिन. बाकी अगर तुम कम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स के परस्पेक्टिव से पढ़ रहे हो तो गलती से भी ये सब पे ध्यान मत दो. यू हैव इनहेरिटेड अ किंगडम. रिमेंबर Babur and Akbar were about your age when they became rulers. How would you make your kingdom stable and prosperous? भाई ये सब देख लेना, ठीक है. ये सब मैंने बता ही दिया है. बाकी सारे ये सब जो कीवर्ड्स हैं इनका अंडरलाइन किया होता जो बता दिया. अब हम लोग पढ़ेंगे. इसमें वो नहीं होता डेट्स, सम इम्पोर्टेंट डेट्स. कहाँ गया भाई सम इम्पोर्टेंट डेट्स. अच्छा इसमें नहीं है सम इम्पोर्टेंट डेट्स. चलो दोस्तों, तो चैप्टर खत्म होता है. बहुत बहुत बधाई आप लोगों को कि आप लोगों ने मेरे साथ ये चैप्टर खत्म किया. और दोस्तों एक बात बता दूं, आप लोग को अगर मान लीजिए मन नहीं लगता है पूरे वीडियो एक बार में देखने में, तो आप लोग पार्ट वाइज देखिए और बीच बीच में अपने गाने सुन लिया कीजिए. कोई दिक्कत नहीं है बस दोस्तों, ठीक है. आप पूरा वीडियो एक बार में देखिए और उसके बाद गाना सुन लीजिए अपना मनपसंद, ठीक है. और इसी तरह आप लोग एनसीईआरटी रीडिंग करते रहेंगे ना तो दोस्तों बहुत फ़ायदा होगा आप लोगों को, ठीक है. बहुत फ़ायदा होगा. और आप लोग किसी भी कम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स में बहुत ही अच्छे से, अगर आप, मैं बता रहा हूँ दोस्तों, अगर आप 10-12 बार ये वीडियोस देख लेंगे ना, एक बार 1 के स्पीड पे, दूसरी बार इंटू 1.25 के स्पीड पे, फिर अगली बार 1.5 के स्पीड पे, ऐसे करते करते जब स्पीड बढ़ा के देखते जाएंगे तो आपको पता रहेगा कि क्या है इस चैप्टर में. चलिए दोस्तों, बहुत हो गया आज के लिए. अच्छा गाना का और एक लाइन सुनोगे, इंटरेस्टिंग लाइन है, मस्त लाइन है, मतलब मेरे को तो अच्छा लगता है. तुम लोग को, अब देखो जो लोग नॉर्थ इंडिया वाले हैं उनको हो सकता है पसंद आए, सबको नहीं. देयर आर ऑलवेज एक्सेप्शंस, बहुत सारे साउथ इंडियन भी हैं जिनको भोजपुरी गाना पसंद है, और बहुत सारे नॉर्थ इंडियन भी हैं जिनको भोजपुरी गाना थोड़ा सा हो सकता है ना पसंद हो, लेकिन मैक्सिमम नॉर्थ इंडियन वालों को पसंद आएगा। ये लो। मुजफ्फरपुर AK राजा AK राजा AK राजा मुजफ्फरपुर मुजफ्फरपुर बिहार। चलिए दोस्तों, इसी के साथ हम लोग मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में। आप लोगों को बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। आप लोगों को अगर मेरा एफर्ट पसंद आ रहा है तो आप लोग लाइक शेयर और सब्सक्राइब जरूर करें, ठीक है दोस्तों। तो चलिए, आप लोगों को नमस्कार, मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय।